Wow, good afternoon or good morning, ni hao, ni men yang. My name is Martin George, and I'm the CEO of a company called LTC Language Solutions. We are headquartered in the Midwest. We started in Indiana because if we can do what we do in a state like Indiana that is landlocked, is not known for its ethnicity and diversity and inclusion and cross-cultural training, we can do what we do anywhere. But we love being here in Orlando. We've been here for over 3 years and providing language and cultural training, interpreting, and translation. And today we're going to have an opportunity to talk to you about cross-cultural training and how to include visitors into appropriate conversations, how to communicate with them, maybe even how to look at them in the eye, or do you look away? Do you shake their hands? Do you stand close? Far away, some of these things. So we really hope that you are a little bit educated and entertained as we go along here. This is a little bit about who we are as a company. We've been on the Inc. list for the last 5 years. That just means really nothing to anyone, so I'm just going to skip over that. How about this? CQ. So everybody out here is thinking, what's CQ? Well, we all know our IQ. Some of you, I wonder, IQs, if you're above 120, you're going to get what I'm going to say today. If you're below 120, you might want to stop right now and go on and do something else. No, just joking. All of us, really have to understand our CQ. We have to understand what we know about other people and other cultures and people who are coming into Orlando every day. I think we have a few visitors. We went to the wonderful Visit Orlando luncheon last week. They announced 68 million visitors. So I would think out of 68 million visitors, we have a few that come from overseas. And so when we have these visitors come to our restaurants, our hotels, our world-class attractions, and even doing business here, we have to say to ourselves, what is our understanding of being appropriate with them? It's not the same, guys. We cannot do business as we do in Florida or in Orlando. We have to sort of check what our cultural quotient is. What's our cultural IQ? And really, as LTC does it, our company, we've put together a 4-dimensional framework of what that looks at. And so as we go through this 4-dimensional framework, we have put it together because we know that in businesses and in tourism and in the greater Orlando area, it really has been one of the top challenges. How do we integrate and assimilate people all over the world? What if somebody comes to my hotel? What if somebody comes to my attraction and they don't speak my language? What do I do? What if I have somebody in my organization, they're a phenomenal worker, and I want to promote them, but their language or the way they communicate, sometimes they say, "Tom, I need to see you in my office." And it's a little bit too direct, a little bit too stern. The tone, the intonation, the rhythm is very different than what you and I might use. For you and I, we might say, "Hey, Tom, could you come over and see me for a minute?" And we have what we call the jump up and step down approach to language. So when we say, "I'm very tired today. I'm so glad to meet you." Other people, "I'm so glad to meet you." Do we think that's genuine when they say, "Hi, Tom, I'm so glad to meet you"? Do we really feel that? Do we think that? How about if I say, "I'm so glad to meet you. Nice to meet you. It's great to see you." So we have rhythm, we have intonation, a lot of things are going on. That's cultural intelligence, guys. And we want you all, whoever's listening, to be culturally intelligent and relevant. So here is the 4-dimensional framework. I go to the bottom thing. The first says drive, knowledge, strategy, action. I don't even understand that. That's academic terms. But what I do know is motivation. We all know motivation. We see the movie Rocky and we go, yeah, yeah, yeah. So are we motivated? Do we really care? Do we care that out of those 68 million visitors here in Orlando, we probably, the official number of international visitors may be 5 or 6 or 7 million, but I think unofficially we all know that we have many, many Latinos and Hispanics living here, Haitian, Creole, Portuguese, Chinese. So we would say maybe in LTC that we might have up to 10 million non-native English speakers, people from different cultures right around us every day in Orlando. They're coming to buy from us. They're coming to our hotels. They're coming to our restaurants. They're ordering food. They're trying to help the economy. I think that's why they're here. No, they're here because we've created such a wonderful city, and it's so inviting. And now we want to make sure it's inviting also to all of our international guests. So the first thing is, you might have turned on this webinar and said, I don't know if I really care. Really? What's this guy talking about? Well, it's motivation, guys. It really is important to understand how other people think, believe, act. And today we're only doing 15, 20, 25 minutes, just giving you some tips and tricks, and we're going to go into a little bit about a couple cultures, but it's important to really understand so you can do online researches. Our company can put together some more information. Call the people at Visit Orlando, and they'll put you in touch with us, or even go to them. They have a lot of experience. What a great organization. So first, motivation. Are you motivated? Do you care? Second is cognition. What is cognition? We all know cognition. It's really our IQ. What do we know? So what have we been taught? What have we learned? What have we studied? That's cognition, guys. So we hear a lot of the term fake news these days, and I would say that I would caution you when you Google something, you really don't know if when you're getting these tendencies of the Chinese, is this a reputable website? Is this really something that's important? Is it something you want to integrate into your restaurant, your attraction, your hotel, or is it something that, may be really on the outskirts or obscure? I lived in China for 7 years. I go online sometimes and, they're saying some pretty interesting things. For example, one of the cognitive things is if you wear a green hat in China, it's very inappropriate. But how many of us sit around wearing green hats or give out hats? Unless we work for John Deere, it is a problem. Wearing a green hat is no good, guys. I'm not going to tell you why, but I will just say that for you guys out there, your wife won't be happy if you're wearing a green hat. I hope you get what I'm saying. If you don't know what I'm saying, email me and I'll let you know. So that's cognition. It's the knowledge. It's understanding. It's your really, what do you know? Second or third, metacognition. Now, metacognition can be many things. And, I have a background in language and linguistics. I've been in school half my life. But you know what metacognition is, guys? When we read the funny paper and we see that little balloon over Snoopy's head and he's thinking, I wish Charlie Brown would bring me my dinner? That's metacognition. That's what it is. So metacognition is just what we think. It's what we feel. It's our awareness. It's really our planning to be aware. So metacognition, guys, all of us, if I had you close your eyes right now and I said, think of a dog. You would all probably think of a dog, if I said what size, small, medium, or large, white, brown, black, those kind of things. You would think of maybe a dog that you had when you were growing up, something you've seen in the news or on TV lately. So that's metacognition. Metacognition is sort of an intrinsic thing that just sort of comes out. If I say Disney, we all have a reaction to Disney. Whether it's wonderful, I love it, I go there 14 times a year, like me, season ticket holder, season pass holder, or for some people who say, well, they have long lines. Either way, we have a reaction. And then the last is behavior. I think everything we talk about here today really does get to the final thing, which is behavior. If we just know something and we don't act on it, we don't change our behavior, we don't change the way we approach other people from other cultures or other people even in our first culture, then really maybe the kind of learning we've done isn't very appropriate. So again, back to unpack these a little bit. Motivation, it's your interest, it's your drive, it's your energy to adapt cross-culturally. Are you going to spend some time, and really, this is the first step, guys. I would say that, as you listen to this webinar and you think about it, think about how many people you come in contact with every day or every week. Just write it down. How many people do you come in contact either who are deaf, which we say is a separate culture, or they come from, they're non-native English speakers. Just write that down. Then even write down how many cultures. Just write them down. Like, are they from Venezuela and Peru and Argentina and Colombia and Brazil, China? Just write them down. And then really say, what are we doing right now? I mean, are we doing anything to accommodate, to put things that might interest them, the sights, the sounds, the colors, the language, to attract and retain those guests, to make them feel comfortable? So that's the first thing, is our motivation. Do we care? And really, we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to say, are we confident doing this? And that's why I gave you a little primer. Some of it I say is eat and socialize. Really what that means, guys, is like if you really want to integrate into like a Latino culture, well, you're not going to do it just by listening to a seminar or reading a magazine. You're going to hang around people and you're going to get to know them and you're going to watch movies, listen to music. You're going to really understand the culture. That's for maybe if you have a job that really, you wrote that down and you spend 50 to 70% of your time dealing with Latinos or Hispanic or Brazilian visitors or Chinese visitors. It probably would behoove you to really get to know that culture. And then just means hang out with them. So I could have put hang out. And count the perks. Whether it's the perks for you personally, getting promotions, or, really your organization seeing, wow, you're really valuable. Or even the company you work for, the organization you work for, saying, we're not only seeing people come, but they're excited when they come. They're excited that we say a few words in their language. They're excited that we have a couple sentences in their language. They're excited to do business with us. And I think that's what we all want. Number 2, knowledge. Really, I want us to really think about, what knowledge do we have now? What we know really does shape our behavior, guys. So if we believe that, and please excuse me if I, offend anyone. I've never offended anyone before, so I don't want to make this a first. But let's say we have met somebody from Brazil, and the first time we meet them, just think about it, guys. We've probably all met somebody from Brazil. Do they stand the same distance apart as somebody from our culture? Do they stand a little closer? Would they be apt to touch our shoulder or our hand or our arm as they're talking to us? Would they maybe kiss us on the cheek the next time they see us? Would they look at us directly, eye to eye? And we'll get into a couple of these things. But really, that knowledge and understanding what's appropriate with different cultures and language backgrounds allow you to be that expert, to stand apart. And really, as Orlando has so many people from so many cultures that it'd be great for all of us maybe to take a culture and really become that expert. So I want us to increase our cognition, our knowledge, and then, just our value systems. We never want anyone to lose their culture. A lot of people say, well, if they're here in America, they should understand. That's true. It's true. But we just want to reach out our hand. We want to be, great customer service. That's all. That's all we're saying about in knowledge. So strategy, what's my plan? What's my metacognitive ability? Know about knowing. This one's a little harder, guys, because you have to sort of monitor what you're doing. You have to check your behavior. You got to check your, and this is really goes into sort of our prejudices. Do we like to hang out? Do we like to communicate with people from China or, Mexico or France? Different people have different backgrounds. Like me, you can tell I'm very quiet, very reserved, very handsome, 6'2", 180, so I have all the people around me. So, for me, it's good. I got a great life. Everything's good. If you see my picture and you have a comment, do not email me. I don't want to see any emails about you commenting on me. But, we all have a penchant, whether you know it or not. If you love basketball, guys, if you love it, and women, if you love basketball, and I meet you and we're going to hang out and you never want to talk about basketball, you won't go to an Orlando Magic game. I'm a season ticket holder. I love it. Love everything about Orlando. If you won't talk about it, we'll be good friends. We can hang out. But I like basketball. Like to talk about it. I'm interested in it. I know who just made the NBA, first team, second team, third team. I know, what it means to their compensation. And I can talk about basketball all day long. So it's what, it's our directness, it's our indirectness, it's how loud we are or how soft we speak. So people, you can tell I speak a little bit loud, and sometimes I'm a little bit animated, and my hands are flailing right now, and I wish you could see me. But other people are very reserved, aren't they? They're very laid back, they're kicked back, they're chill. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's happening? It's all good. But to be appropriate and relevant in other languages and cultures, we have to know the penchant or the paradigms that they might embrace more. So what we say is just plan. This might be first step again, planning for your cross-cultural interaction. Check your assumptions. See if you have any things that are really going on. Like, I'm never talking to that Martin guy because he likes basketball, and find a trusted, knowledgeable cultural guide that really helps you on learning and understanding more about culture. So how do I adapt? In a behavioral dimension, how do I really change what I do, how I speak? Adapt your communication by carefully choosing the words you speak. So do you know that in American English, we speak 6 to 8 syllables per second? 6 to 8. So what do we do when we meet a non-native English speaker? Sometimes we speak slower and louder. Like, that's really going to help. If they don't have the vocabulary, not appropriate, guys. Let's knock it off. But what we can do is, instead of 6 to 8 syllables per second and using idiomatic phrases and phrasal verbs and things that are just around the schema that we have here in Orlando or in Florida or in the United States, we can go maybe 5 to 7 syllables per second. Don't slow it down too much. Our brain processes information quickly. But be relevant. Instead of saying, we hit that out of the park, and say, oh man, that was successful. Difference there. Hit it out of the park, successful, communicates the same thing, but there's not much baseball played in China. Just not. They don't have baseball. Korea does, Japan does, Taiwan does, China not so much. So they won't know hit it out of the park. Adapt your communication through careful delivery. When you're delivering what you want to say, really think about it. Your behavior, how close do you stand? How loud do you speak? How are you doing these things? Adapt your nonverbal communication. If you see them, people from other cultures, reaching out, touching your arm, don't be afraid to reciprocate that. A lot of this is called modeling or mirroring. Know when to flex your words, your actions, your attitudes, and be prepared. All we're saying here today is just be prepared. Think about it. This is just like a wake-up call. Wow, I didn't even think about it. I knew there was something different. I knew we had visitors, but yeah, this is good. I want to start thinking about something. So a little bit, we know in Orlando we have a few visitors from a couple of cultures. So we're going to talk about Brazil and China. And one of the things is misattribution. So sometimes, he says here he seems a bit unfriendly. Whoa, personal space invasion. So we might think that somebody who's like standing too close to us is invading our personal space. Other people are saying, I'm being very friendly. I'm being appropriate. I'm doing what's natural. I'm really showing them I want to have a great relationship. That's called misattribution. It's attributing our own thoughts and behaviors from our culture onto somebody else from another culture. First thing in harmony, China is harmony. Really, if you think about a Confucian society, and China really, what they want to do is they want you to understand, to value the family. That really their unit of husband, wife, father, son, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandma, grandpa, very, very important. Very important to understand rank, so if you're in a hierarchy, or age. And punctuality is also very important. So what do we say here? Really, in terms of that, what we're saying is, if you're meeting a Chinese group, expect them to be on time. Really, really expect them to be on time. And really, if you're talking to the group and you want to look, and there may be 5, 6, 7 Chinese, look at the oldest one. Direct your conversation to the oldest member of that group. Really give them value. Man, you will just see them really appreciating you and really making a connection with you. Understand that China has a fixed, in terms of time, they don't conjugate verbs. So they just have a simple present. Means a lot, guys. It means that they live in the now. So if you're talking about 2 weeks from now or a month from now and you're making an itinerary and you're talking about restaurants or bus trips, they do not typically have the habit of getting agendas or being pre-planned and getting all that done. My suggestion to you then is if you're a restaurant, a hotel, reconfirm. Reconfirm a week ahead, reconfirm a day ahead. Make sure you text them and email them, maybe call them, whatever your habit is, because Chinese think in the now, and that's very important to know. Use the family names. So in China, if their name is like Lin Jing, Lin is their family name. So you want to use, if it's Mr. Lin, so the first name, if they have not sort of made it appropriate for being in the United States, Lin is their family name. We say, if my name is Tom Link, of course my first name is Tom and my last name is Link. In Chinese, his name would be Link Tom, and we would call him Mr. Link. So really understand that when they check into the restaurant, check into your hotel, be aware of that, guys. It will make you so much more proud and appropriate. They'll love it. I guarantee you they'll love it. If they give you any title like they're the chairman or the president of the organization, call them President Link or even Engineer Link. They go by titles. They go by titles and last name. So don't worry, where in our culture, we would never do that. We'd say, hey, Tom, what's up? No, do not. Please don't go first name on the Chinese really quick. Maybe after you get to know them, it's fine. But please, you understand the order of their name, use their family name, and then use their title. And then we've all heard about the concept of face in Chinese. Make sure if you have a discrepancy or a problem that you give the Chinese person an out, give them face, do it discreetly, take them away from the group, do it privately, address the concern, let them think through what went on. But in America, we'll say, no, you only ordered one night. I have the reservation right here. Well, what we might do is, wow, there might be some mix-up. And that's good customer service. Might be some mix-up. We'll let your family get settled. You come down here later. We'll talk about it. We'll get it worked out. So again, it's giving them face. Instead of making them lose face, you're allowing them to save face in front of their family or friends or the group that they have. Also, in Chinese, if you ask them something and you expect an answer in American English, we have this habit of interrupting each other. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but person A is talking and then person B jumps in like, yeah, I like that restaurant. Oh yeah, have you been over here? Yeah, I was over there last week. And we just ping pong back and forth, cut each other off. Not so much in Asian cultures, guys. So they say something, they get to the end of what they say, and then there's a pause. Yes. I like the restaurant. Good. And we're like, whoa, that 3 or 4 seconds of silence is just like, wow, what just happened? But that's called a positive pause culture linguistically, guys. And so really, don't worry about it. Nothing's, don't sweat. Don't become uncomfortable. They like silence. They want to think about what they're saying. A lot of the times I speak fluent Chinese. A lot of the Chinese say, why don't Americans ever think before they speak? And I say, I don't know. We just don't. Get off my back. And then one other thing, if you ever learn anything about Chinese, learn Guanxi. So Guanxi, you will never meet a group of people more kind, more generous. If you go to visit them in China, they'll pick you up at the airport, they'll take you to a restaurant, they'll get you checked in a hotel, they'll go with you to Disney, they'll pay for your lunches, and they'll develop this friendship, this relationship. So all that word is wrapped into a word called Guanxi. You could say you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, but it's much, much deeper than that. Guanxi just means, we're developing a relationship that we're going to use for a long time in the future. So it's very important. Treat our visitors and our guests from Asian cultures a little bit different. Brazil, we might want to know a little bit about, there's one thing that we have this score on individualism, and it's this researcher that's a cultural researcher, Hofstede, and he looks at like, how often do people go alone and do things? Well, in the United States, we go alone. So you see that number 120 in the middle of the page. So the United States is over 100, which means it's not unusual for us to go to an amusement park or go to a restaurant or go to a movie by ourselves or go shopping by ourselves. But in collective cultures like Brazil, they go with each other. They get a 38. So what happens? We see all these people coming at us, like 5, 10, 15 people. It's just the culture, guys. They like to be around. They're outgoing. They're friendly. They're often animated and engaged. And, they like to interrupt. So very different than what we were just talking about in the Chinese culture. It's not considered rude here. Brazilians are living life. They're loving it. And so jump in, go along with the pattern. 73% of the Brazilians identify themselves as Catholic, so understand that too. They might want to find, really they're going to take that very seriously. On Sunday, they might want to find a church or other places to pray or be involved in spiritual activities. So it's good for you to be prepared and to know some of those things. I also, just like with the Chinese we talked about, hierarchical structures are absolutely respected. So again, I think in a lot of cultures, we have often respected people who are older than us, and we've shown them deference and politeness. So really, when dealing with Brazil, make that a point too. Personal loyalty is phenomenal. If you meet someone, if you develop a relationship, that relationship is going to be solid for a long, long time. So just keep in mind that, you might be meeting somebody in a very casual setting, maybe even, just while you're visiting something, but that relationship to them is very important, and they could keep that their whole life. Appearances are important, well-dressed, shiny shoes, good, well-dressed, they love football. I think we call that soccer here. They love the food, music, dance, obviously, things like that. So these are just a few things to help you as you're dealing with people cross-culturally from Brazil and China and others. We appreciate your time today. We hope this was helpful. If it's not, it's Ron's fault from Visit Orlando. If you liked it, it's my fault. Thank you.